All right, Mike, we're live.
No intro? Okay. Hey, welcome Kansas City. Welcome Kansas City. This is the new program that now Elevating Men have now put together, led by the head honcho, the head leader of it, A.L. Johnson. And we want to thank him for the opportunity of being on now a program that now will give us a chance to share with you now the ways and the means to get past this epidemic. I call it a mandemic that society has brought about, that is keeping us in a point of obesity, especially amongst the so far as the Hispanic population is concerned, so far as people of color, so far as Black people are concerned. And this is for an open conversation for all people, because now this also affects our Caucasian brothers and sisters. And remember, we're all in this thing together. And so now with this Fit Way, with Mike's Way, this program will now enunciate and pronounce now hopefully the things that and questions that you've been wanting to know. How do I get my body fat down? How do I control such a system within our society that promotes fast foods and drinking and drugs? And how do I control now being a single mother or a single father and not being able to have the means and the times to fix good meals? What are good meals? What are some of the stats to say that, I can now grow up and I can now come from, or my children can come from, an area between the ages of, say, 12 to 24 and have a healthy, profitable, healthy, good, long-lasting life? Well, we're going to discuss that because we got some powerful people on this program today, and we're going to introduce Brother Dennis Hopgood and Alexandra Palmer. And you saw her last week, and these are some of the young people that are much younger than I am. However, they're very knowledgeable, because we want to get a chance for you all to see that on both ends. So if we can bring them in, if we can bring this show, let's get ready to make it happen. This is Brother Dennis. What's up, Dennis?
Hey, how you doing?
All right. What's up, Alexandra?
Hi, how's it
We'll call
going?
her Alex. Yes, Alex. So we got a lot of stuff to talk about. I want to introduce this young man that I've been able to work with, and his name is Dennis Hopgood. Tell us something about you, Brother Dennis.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure. I've been knowing Mike for about a few short months, but he's had a huge impact on the things that I've been doing since joining the gym here at Active Strength. I'm just being a sponge to this guy. He has a lot of knowledge. I'm just trying to learn each and every day and apply that to the people that I come in contact with. So this is another step in something new that I've never done, and I've been exposed to this because of Brother Patton. So I'm excited to keep growing.
All right. Alexandra, fill us
Hi.
in. Hey.
Hi, I'm Alexandra. I am a personal trainer. I train student athletes ages 8 to 17. And I am just like a sponge, like Dennis said, to Brother Mike Patton and all the knowledge that he has given me and is continuing to give me. And it's going to be a great journey. And I'm looking forward to just growing and getting to be the best version of myself. So,
Amen. All right. Hey, if you want to call in, call me at 816-916-3503 if you have any questions about what we do and how it's done. And we want to talk about some very important topics, because now we're dealing with the African American community, which by and large, we only make up a small percentage, 12.5, maybe even at 13% of the population, which puts us only about maybe 48 million of us now since the census was first taken in 1961. And so with this, where are we so far as our health is concerned? Why are we dying at a disproportionate rate? Is it society that's doing this? Do we still have the slave mentality? Is it a situation whereas in the population, the number of births, we have probably about 548,000 that are born per year, per births of women for every 1,000 from the ages of 15 to 44. And that leaves us probably at 61.4% of births from women from those ages. And so where are we so far as taking care of the ones that we bring into this world, that God has allowed us to bring into this world? The health status says percentage of adults aged from 18 and over in fair or poor health is about maybe 20%. We have a large number that's being born, but we have a very high number that has health-related type of health conditions. And so I want to just open up with my friend Alex, and one that I hope to be working with now, getting ready for possible competitions coming up. And I'll tell you, you ought to see her train her people. She's excited. She's motivated. You need to come to Active Strength to really check her out, because she works with the youth. And with these youth, so far as the mentality, and I want to talk about the mentality right now, because first of all, let's answer this. The parents that bring the kids in that train with you, what are their age ranges?
Between the ages of about 28 to 45.
Okay.
I would like to say. So there's some middle-aged parents in there. There's some young parents. So yeah, about that age range.
Okay. Dennis, what would be the stats on your end so far as the age ranges of now the parents to bring in their kids, and what age ranges are the kids that they bring in?
Yeah, so a majority of my kids are going to be anywhere from 8 to 12 years old. Most of my parents are going to fall around that maybe early 30s to mid 40s, I would say. Kind of right around the age I am.
Mm-hmm. And you know the thing about it, to the audience, I've seen Dennis train his clients too, and I mean, it's like precision, it's like hop, it's like do this, it's like on point. And it's always good, I feel, to have a good leader, because through good leadership comes good fellowship, in which comes a good fellowship. And so you want to be able to trust the person that you're training, that they're adequate, they're not inept, that they understand now the weaknesses, now to make your weaknesses strong. Because wherever there is a point where there's a weakness, there's a platform and there's a place now to make them better than they were before they came in. Now, on the points of that, Alex, so far as nutrition, do you discuss nutrition with the parents so that the parents can really understand how to give the right adequacy with the child that probably may come in a little bit overweight when they come see you?
Yes, absolutely. That is something that's discussed. I get with the parents and I ask them what their routine is as far as, dinner, when parents are getting off work, kids are getting out of school, what their normal routine is for their children as far as dinner. How many times a day are they eating? Are they actually eating lunch when they're at school? Are they actually having those snacks? Are they having a well-balanced diet? And also, are they eating before and after workouts? Yeah, so we definitely discuss those things just so I can know how to adjust or where I can fit in suggestions for that routine that they already have set.
Man, that's awesome. And those are so great points that you just brought out. Dennis, as you train with me now, you know how important it is to have nutrition so far as the energy is concerned,
Yes.
right? And so with this, have you found out that kids that come in that are very lethargic, it isn't because of the fact that they're just overweight maybe, but the fact that they're not eating enough carbs and a good healthy meal throughout the day? Because we do know, statistics tells us and shares with us, schools sometimes are the major provider of food for those that are on a low income. How would you say the performance is with your kids? You said from the ages from what, 8 to 12, so far as them eating versus not eating?
Yeah, I mean that's a good point. It's tough because I'm seeing my kids 1 hour, right? And you want to make sure that you're being efficient and you're providing the service that they're there for, right? If I see a kid and they look off, I try to ask those questions. My main point is to, if I see a kid, for example, like my son, if he's got a cramp in his side or, something's going on, and it's more likely it's a lack of water. So I try to make that a highlighted point for everybody. Because you really can't, I got 15 kids in the class. You really can't address every kid in their nutrition. We would be there all night. But that's a great point, because I think it starts well before it gets to us, at the gym when we're training them.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
And, like, you can talk to the parents, but the parents are just as busy. I'm a parent, so I know what it's like and how hard it is to ensure that my son is drinking water at school, because I'm not the teacher. So
Right.
it's just tough. So all I do is just keep that top of mind and try to make examples out of certain situations so that kids can try to avoid them.
Mhm. Alex, what do you think about the fact that I know through my career over 30 plus years, how do you ever feel like sometimes you're like the second or third parent sometimes when it comes down to the attention and so far as the focus and so far as the attitude of now how they're perceived, how they now treat you, that you become now that third parent? How important is that? Or do you feel that's even a conversation to even talk about?
It is absolutely a conversation to talk about, because I'm put in a position where I have the opportunity to invest in someone else's child. That is
Mhm.
not something that anybody should take lightly.
Mhm.
That is
Mhm.
something that they should absolutely honor,
Mhm.
because it's a privilege.
Mhm.
Children are very vulnerable, and
Mhm.
we should not take advantage of that. So
Mhm.
it's very important that we get with these parents, that we're on the same page,
Mhm.
and that we have the same ultimate goal for
Mhm.
their child.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
absolutely, it's important.
Okay. And we talked about obesity. There is a such thing called skinny fat. And just because a
Yep,
person, is small doesn't
does not
mean
mean
that
they're
that person
healthy.
now doesn't carry a large amount of body fat because they have a lack of muscle. But we know during the adolescent times of a person growing up, they haven't matured to that point yet. And
Hmm.
they still got some years to really go. But so far as a person being small, and a person having a way within their mind where they don't feel adequate, how much of an importance is your presence to motivate them, to give them now this confidence, now that they can do things, not just on the football, basketball, athletic field, that would also help them scholastically? Dennis, talk to us about that.
I mean, I believe it's super important, because I remember growing up, I didn't have I told you this, Mike, before. I didn't have a person like you. I didn't have a person like myself growing up to tell me, how much water to drink, or
Right.
slow down on the snacks, or whatever it is. I thought that, hey, I'm a kid, I eat candy. I'm a
Hmm.
kid,
Mhm.
I have unlimited energy because I'm young,
Mhm.
because that's what my parents always told me. It's like,
Mhm.
you're not tired, you're young.
Right.
So I never,
Right.
I thought I was, just because I was a young age, that
Yeah.
you had a limited battery. But
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
I think it's really important, because I
Yeah.
feel like
Yeah.
if we instill this into them now, then
Mhm.
how many other, when they grow up to be us, how many other kids would they instill that in? So I feel like
Mhm.
it's just gotta be
Exactly.
a
Mhm.
a big blossoming tree.
Mhm. And we blossom. How about you, Alex? How do you feel about that particular conversation?
I feel it's very important, like Dennis said, instilling in these children at a young
Mhm.
age what's
Mhm.
important, and then also making it fun for them. Uh,
Mhm.
as far as making it fun, like lead by example,
Mhm.
give them some alternative
Mhm.
snacks for them to eat.
Mhm.
Something like expand their palate, things that they
So
haven't
so since
tried.
so since so
So
since you said that, give us, okay. We talk about food, we talk about things to do. Give
mhm.
us some names, give us some outlines. What do you think are some of the best snacks that are most healthy? That because it is very difficult to wean somebody from junk,
Yeah, it
okay?
is.
Because
It
junk
is.
become an addiction, right?
Yes.
Mentally, emotionally,
Hmm.
psychologically, mentally. And so, what type of foods are good to wean our kids out of so that now they could be more in a healthy state, would you say?
um Snacks, like Dennis said, snacks and the candy, that has to be limited, um
Mhm.
and ultimately at some point eliminated, and to wean that child off of that is to start putting in front of them more healthier choices.
Mhm.
Instead of us eating a bag of potato chips, how about we eat um some sliced apples and peanut butter?
But now we're going to get into some discussions right now because I'm going to interrupt you right there. I'm going to interrupt you. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. See, it's very hard to eliminate that because now we are products of our environment.
Absolutely.
They got kids around them that got chips that got Snickers bars. Why can't I have a Snicker bar? Why can't I have a chip? And so now the situation is educating them why it's so important to do this in moderation. So what foods can we do now till now? Okay, we can have a Snicker bar here, a half of one here, but now we can have, say, a bag of almonds, or we can have some fruit, or we can have a fruit bowl. And now how important is it for the parents to be able to explain that? If the parents don't do it, then how can now kids be a product? Because now, let's talk about this. Are we not products of our own environment?
We are, but and that's why we get with these parents and like, hey, what's your routine? What do you do every day? What are your meals looking like? Okay, and where can we fit in these healthier choices in that daily routine that's already set for you and your family? That way that we can adjust is going to be an adjustment for that child and that parent. Because now that parent, instead of picking up those Pop-Tarts at the grocery store, now they're picking up granola. And just continuing to put those healthier choices in front of your child will ultimately deter them from those unhealthier snacks, if you will.
And Dennis, I mean, you're a parent. How important is it for your child, for your son? I think he's 12 or 13. Is that how your son is?
Yeah, he actually turned 11 yesterday. So
okay, hey, happy birthday! Way to go, little D in the house, baby. Hey, but how important it is, because see, when we talk about junk food, it perpetuates into sometimes a point that kids even go through childhood depression, and they have to eat things now that makes them feel good and it gives them the energy and something that's sweet, because we know the sweets that we eat over a period of time can become big issues. And so now your son, being a parent, what would you say is a good healthy snack and food for him?
I've been fortunate with this little guy is that he loves fruit. So I haven't had to fight him a whole lot on I mean,
did he see his daddy eat fruit? Did he see his daddy eat fruit?
Oh yeah, I eat a lot of fruit.
Okay, well, that's what we say.
That's a good point. But I would say, it's been a challenge because we're in a co-parenting situation, which is a really good co-parenting situation, thank goodness. But the nutrition is a little bit different on the other side, so it is somewhat of a battle when we go from one household to another. But it's just tough because it's convenient, it's easy. Some of the worst foods are the easiest foods to get a hold of. So it
absolutely,
you don't have enough, you don't have a lot of time as a parent, single parents, a lot of single parents, in the Black community. And when you don't have enough time, I mean, you go for the easiest stuff, and the easiest stuff is usually the worst stuff. So, I feel like it starts well before the food,
And see, I believe also too that a good healthy diet and exercise, being consistent. Now it's the 4Ds. Here's the 4Ds. Here we go. Desire, discipline, dedication, and determination. Those are the four main focal points I think that a child and a household should have. I should have the desire to want to now be healthy, but it's very difficult to do that because here comes the situation that really shifts this whole narrative, right, of healthy eating. What we see on TV is not healthy. What we see in the mainstream of TikTok and all these other different types of social media programs that we see is not healthy. We see Snoop Dogg, friends. How many of us have us friend? He's got his cool walk on. It's nothing wrong giving a Corona to your friend. Now you got somebody 18, 19 that's following the outlines of Snoop Dogg. And, I love some Snoop Dogg. I mean, he's a great entrepreneur. That brother can rap. I mean, he's bad. He's awesome. He's got all that in the bag of chips. But what are we promoting to our kids when we see our parents smoke, when we see them drink? And it's not just our parents, because our parents may not do it, but look what happens in social media. Look at what we see on TV. Go ahead.
I want to piggyback off what you just said. What we see on TV, there has to be a balance set in that in the environment that these families are in.
Mhm.
You know, I'm not a parent, but I've seen on the outside looking in that these children do follow what their parents have done and what they
Mhm.
see on social media. So
Mhm.
parents
Mhm.
limiting that social media access is
Mhm.
very important too.
Mhm. Mhm.
There
Mhm.
has to be a balance there, and just to know what's the real
Mhm.
versus what is the fake
Mhm.
as far as social media goes,
I like that.
because
Yeah.
the parents have to let their children know, because they're
Mhm.
on their phones all day,
Mhm.
they're on
Mhm.
their Chromebooks at
Mhm.
school, they're
Yeah. Yeah.
constantly seeing these things. So letting that child know
Yeah.
what that separation is very
Mhm.
important. So hey, they know the real, so when they see that, they're like, yeah, that's not
Yeah.
what my mom and dad told me, so I know that this
Yeah.
is not it, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So
Yeah.
as far as that go, will absolutely help with that balance, so they're not
Mhm.
more prone to go that
Right.
direction.
Right. 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 You know, the thing about association, when it comes down to point a situation where it can be an asset or a liability. And
Right.
so I think it's very important that through this whole point that we understand exercise is so important. And what it does, it eliminates and can decrease things like strokes and metabolic syndromes, high blood
Mm-hmm.
pressure, hypertension, which is a silent killer,
Mm-hmm.
type 2 diabetes, anxieties,
Mm-hmm.
and many types of cancers and arthritis and the things that we fall into
Mm-hmm.
victims of, because as we get older now, we become complacent.
Yeah.
And we become complacent, we become now lazy. And we become lazy, we have the doers and we have the do nots. We have the have and the have nots. And so
Mm-hmm.
now what happens if I don't have a job that facilitates the the type of health care that I need, the type of insurance that I need? So then we find ourselves in a major big problem and being able to take care of problems now, because now there's a genetic code that goes along with that. There are kids that are born with fat cells that they inherit from the parents. And
Mm-hmm.
so I think it's important as we talk to these kids, we also need to be talking to the parents again about the
Yeah.
product of now the society that now they have now embraced into these children. And you know, the thing about is that you know, a lot of times it's kind of like a pastor in the church. A pastor in the church sometimes gives the information and people go to get that information, but they don't have the information now adequately accessible at home because we go back
Mm-hmm.
to the norm. And
Right.
so I believe that it is important that we teach these kids not only what you see here in the training sessions with you all and with myself. This has to be something that's now made manifest at home, because the thing about schools, most of them, not all of them, because there's some that care. A lot of those teachers take kids through just like a car wash. They wash
Mm-hmm.
them, they wax them a little bit, but they never go to the inside now to do a diagnostic test of where they are on the inside. Well, teachers have a whole lot they have to deal with. It's a whole lot of people. So we can't put the burden on them. I think the burden of proof has to be at home.
Yep.
And so now with the home situation, now we got a kid now that now gets into more of the healthy eating pattern. Why would that change that child's performance when they're on the field with you? I mean, you were saying, Dennis, that you had about, 12, 15 something kids out working with you, on a day by day, every other day basis. How does the eating now change that child's performance so far as, is it important for them to get proper sleep? Is it important for them to have breakfast? And let's talk about this. Why is breakfast so important for the human body?
Well, I mean, to answer your last question, because I struggled with breakfast for a long time, but
Yeah.
I mean,
What does breakfast mean? What does breakfast mean? Why do we say
I mean,
breakfast?
it gets you started, it gets you jump started for the day,
Oh,
it
you got to
gives you a
come deeper
few.
than that, man. Come on, come deeper than that.
I mean,
Tell me what breakfast is. Breakfast means I'm breaking my fast,
Mm-hmm.
right? It's been at least, 12 hours since I've eaten last. And when I sleep, I'm also metabolizing foods. When I dream, when I get up and urinate, whatever I do at night, I'm using some forms of energy. Yes, I'm dormant, but now my body is empty. So my body's empty. Why is breakfast so important? Go.
Gets your metabolism going. It provides you with the energy that you need to get through a workout, the energy that you need to get through class when you're in school. So it's very important.
Okay.
It's very important.
Dennis, go ahead.
I mean, as far as, say for a goal like myself, when I'm maybe trying to cut and lose a little bit of weight, I've learned that if you don't eat breakfast, it actually works against you. It actually doesn't allow you to burn calories. So against that, like you said, Alex, to get your metabolism started, and allows you to burn the calories that you need to obtain your goals.
And see, understand this too, that before we exercise, we have to get up now and be functional in our classrooms. And in order to do that, you need energy to do that, and not trying to be 15, 16 years old trying to drink coffee because my parents do it to get me now a false narrative or false way of now having energy, because it doesn't. It's a false way. I need true foods. So things like oatmeal, things like cream of wheat, things like a cream of rice, or a cereal that is not loaded with a ton of sugar like Captain Crunch, but something now that you can just, like every other day, okay, have some Fruit Loops here. But today we have oatmeal with now some bananas with some strawberries, some berries and things like that. Now to get my metabolism going, because our brain needs what? It needs energy that comes from food. Also rest, because I got to be in my first hour, because, I really don't want to be at school today. Well, some people do, some people don't. So now the teacher's trying to get me to pay attention. If I don't have any energy, I tend to do what? I tend to just nod off, pay attention, be lethargic, and just go off into another world. So when you're working out, have you ever had any kids that just could not pay attention to protocol and what you teach them?
Absolutely.
How does that look? What does that look like?
Yeah, it looks off balance. It looks non-efficient. The movements aren't right. The focus is not there. And you see it right off the bat. You'll see it right off the bat at the beginning of the session. You'll see it. And so, hey, what's going on? What'd you eat today? How was school? Well, what'd you do when you came home? Kind of tapping in with them so you can get an idea of how their day was, so you can come up with why they're like this. And then make adjustments from there.
Dennis, how do we get into a child's head, who's wandered off? Because I know sometimes I've seen you talk to some of your kids. Hey, what you doing? Pay attention. What you doing, man? Let's go. And they're doing something else. How do you get in that child's head? What things do you look for?
I mean, I think with my kids, since they're a little younger than what Alex probably deals with, the off balance usually is the reflection of off balance usually is lack of concentration. And so I try to highlight that. I usually have not to name any kids, but I usually have 2 or 3 that are I can usually count on not being focused. But really the biggest thing is, it's not even about them not being focused, but it's dangerous for the other kids around them, because if they're not focused, if they're not exiting the drill in the right way, they could collide with each other. Or, worst case scenario, if you're not listening to me, you can do something wrong and hurt yourself. And that's the last thing I need to happen. So what I try to do, like you seen, Brother Pat, is just always staying on them, stopping the class, turning down the music. Nobody likes to be put on Front Street. So I'm not afraid to put a kid out and say, hey, turn around, look at this person. And actually get out too.
Get out.
Get out.
And the thing about it is this, that, and we're men talking, but I so much appreciate Alex, because I've seen her around her kids, and she has boys, and she gets on them, and it's like, you got to do what I say do, and this is how you do it. So it's very important for a trainer who trains them to train themselves. so that they can be now products of now what they see,
Mhm.
right? And I think, go ahead.
An example of that, the other day, I had a younger student athlete, and he was very unbalanced. He wasn't focused. So I tapped in with him, asked him what was going on, how was his day, and then I continued to watch him. But it wasn't until I got down there with him. I said, "Me and you, come on, let's do this." We're side lunging, we're butt kicks, we're high knees, and him being beside me, and we are doing these same movements. I was able to then sit back, and he was able to just continue it, to do it the correct way and the way that I was asking him to. So getting down there with them and actually doing these activities with them absolutely helps with that focus and that balance.
Well, I mean, in that same sense, getting down with him, it's kind of like I'm training, and I train a lot, and some gyms don't allow you to train with the people. They don't think it's professional. Man, I think one of the best things to do is to get down into the bottom line of the 50-yard line with them.
Yeah.
And so that they can see that you go through now some of the pain and suffering that they go through, and you're older, because some things now are hard for you to do, and you run out of gas too. So if they see the teacher now putting all out what they telling me to do, and they see some of the hard knocks and tightness and stiffnesses, and they got to stretch too, and they see you stretch with them, I think by the process of example now gives them a point now of having this, okay, since my teacher is doing it with me, then evidently it must be something good to have. So it allows them to be excited. It allows them to be more at a point, whereas if the teacher's asking me to do this, now let me get down in the place with them and show them. But I noticed that there are a lot of trainers who can't do what they're asking their persons to do because it becomes book learned. Now, here's the point. Here's the point. And this is for young and old. Book learning is good, but is experience versus just book learning alone, which one is adequate and which can be inadequate? A person has all this knowledge, right? But they can't, and they don't have a pedigree or resume behind now training and what is done for them to share. So is the book learning, is that good enough to be able to teach somebody you haven't done? Because now you have a label, you have a degree, you have a paper that says now that you have the education, but you don't have the application, and you don't have the vision now of the revelation of what you want that person now to become, because you see the inadequacies. Is the education in the book good enough to change that person's lifestyle or to change that person's performance? That's the question.
Dennis?
Well, I answer that. I like that question because, as you know, Mike, I've been around Jesse for the last 12 years. We met, back in corporate America, and I've been knowing him for a long time. So just this past year, I decided to get my certification in personal training. And it's crazy. I'm going through this book, and Alex, you probably know. I mean, this book is like,
yes,
3 inches. It's 3 inches thick, right?
Yes.
And as I'm going through this book, I'm like, oh, I remember this. Oh, I remember this. And
coming back.
it's like, yeah, it's coming. It's like, I don't know, how much the actual. I'm a learner by like Alex, like getting down with me, showing me. Like that's how I learned. When I was a long jumper in college, my coach would physically demonstrate, and I'd be like, oh, I got it. So
yes,
for me, the book, I guess it just depends on what type of learning you are. I'm a led by example type of dude. I can read a book and highlight everything in the world, but until you get down there and show me how to do a lateral lunge jump, then I probably wouldn't know. So I don't know. I'm really getting my certification to have those, the credentials. But do I think I need it to be? Is that going to make me? Is that going to make me who I am now? I don't know. I think the experience is going to be more important at this point.
I
Ouch.
totally agree, Dennis. It can be inadequate depending on your audience. Like Dennis said, you have various different learning styles. So once you learn your client, you can learn how to teach them, how to coach them, and how to guide them. And some individuals are visual learners, some are hands on, and some are like, if you tell me and you give me instruction, I can execute it the way that you told me to. So it is depending. And I think that it's important for that book knowledge and that experience to be locked together to get the best experience for that client or for that student athlete. But like Dennis said, I could read the book all day. If you get down there with me, I got it. So for me, it's just depending on the person, depending on your audience, depending on who you're training, and knowing which type of learning style that works for them.
Well, see, the thing about it is this too, and I'm totally with you all. You guys are right on point, but I'm taking bits and pieces. Like for me, when I'm training Dennis and I'm getting to work with you, and my point is that I've been in school for so long until it's important for me. Let's just take this scenario, right? If I was now to give a person a direction to get to my house, okay, and they ask me, Mike, how do I get to your house? I need to know different variations. If you're coming from the north, coming from the south, coming from the east, the west, how to get to my home, right? Now, if I know the address, but I don't know how to get there, that could be a problem.
Yes.
So I got to be familiar with the streets, right? And the outline, and then some of the things that are around that you may look for before you get there to let you know you're in the right neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right. So
For sure.
what I do is that I have got in my head to really learn the anatomy, the physiology. And the anatomy is the outline of what now that body is. You have now the muscle and you have the skeletal, right? And so they have certain parts that facilitate motion and movement of the muscle I'm trying to work. Now, say, for instance, with an older person, right? We're going to work our biceps. Where are my biceps? They start putting down to their leg. No. The biceps now are here in between the shoulder and the elbow. Okay. And I'll tell them, I don't expect you to know the names, but it's good to know at least the area, the demographics of it. And so we got the bicep brachialis, bicep brachialis, divided into two areas. That's why it's called biceps, because it's 2 and 1. Okay. So if I'm having them do it and they feeling the pain, because I felt the pain because I've done it too, I can now become in agreement as to now what they're feeling. Why? Because I've done it myself. So I may need to widen the hands. I may need to turn the wrist. I may need to bring the elbow in. I may need to slow it down. I may need to breathe more often, breathe up on a point of exertion. So all the time I'm teaching, all the time I'm directing on the specifics. So it is good to know now the education of the anatomy, of the skeletal system, of the parasympathetic and sympathetic, and all these other big name words. I don't expect them to know this, but what I try to do is break it down so that they can understand where the quadriceps is. Why do they call it quads? Because there's 4 muscles there. Where are the calves? What are my triceps? Tri means 3. And so when we work in those muscles, to explain, to share with them, so that now the points of now them being more adequate as to now how to understand is more relevant. Now, if I don't work those muscles myself, how can I feel the pain that they feel?
You can't. That's why that experience and that knowledge, like I said before, have to be interlocked.
And see, one thing I've noticed too, and I've been told this with myself sometimes, you don't want to talk over people's heads. Correct. You want to break it down so it becomes normal. Okay. So in a normal way of training somebody, say, if you guys have trained anybody in their 30s or 40s, how do you now find yourself being able to explain to someone around your age or older how they should exercise with weights whether it be compound movements, whether it be lunges, aerobics, or anaerobics? How do you find yourself explaining that to them? How important it is for a trainer to be able to now explain to their client the benefits of the different exercises that you're asking them to do.
So they know when their body and those muscle compounds are breaking down, when they're sore and they're shredding, explaining that along with what they're feeling. If they know that, if they gain that knowledge from us telling them that, and then they feel it within their body, it's going to make sense to them. Having that knowledge and then being able to feel what we just talked about is very important, so they get a better idea of how and why.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, she basically the last thing Alex said was why. I mean, I think simply put is, if you're gonna tell me to do something, like I asked you today, right? We were doing back today. In the middle of me doing back, I said, why am I doing this? You know, like, I feel it. I know my back has a ton of blood in it right now, but why is my feet hanging off? Like, I don't, like I need training wheels on this bike and my feet are dragging behind me, and it's just like, oh, once you understand why, somebody is telling you to do something, then you can connect that to the movements and the progress that you're going to make. And so that's what I think is important.
Amen. Yeah. Well, I've so enjoyed today. And I mean, we got a panel here, and we're going to have Jesse. And Jesse, I've learned so much so far as the actual skills training is concerned. I watch and I pick up things because, remember, I am seasoned in what I do. But boy, there's so many different ways. There's not one way to do this, right? People have different ways to get to that pinnacle point of losing body fat, because I understand this. Exercise helps me in my breathing. It also helps me in my memory. It also helps me get and to give me a point of energy. But it also helps me to manage my weight, because even at the age I'm at and the size I'm at, I bodybuilt for 20 years. But I can eat things in moderation and I don't gain a lot of fat because I have a good metabolism. And so all these things we want to make sure next time we get together that we really want to share. And those that are watching, it is very important that you listen to sound doctrine of people that have now active experience. And now they have a part of their lifestyle. And hopefully we will now have call-ins in our next, because we're setting all that up that we can do that. But we want to give prudent, pertinent information to the common people as how now to be to the next level, in which now they have nobody to talk to. We want to be those persons that you talk to. Then we want to be those persons that you come and see. We have consultations with those kids. I want you to go to Alex, and I want you to go to Dennis, even myself, the older people, because I work with the kids too, but we are a team. And so we believe that all things work together for the good for them that have the same mindset. So I want to thank those that are here, my powerful team. Alex, I mean, she's on the bomb. I mean, she's great. You got to, if you have any kids, anybody that is that likes working with females, she is the one, because she's got it. She got what it takes. Dennis, I mean, that brother there, he knows how to move it. He knows how to speak it. He knows how to live it. His lifestyle now gives an overflow of what all this should do and what it means. So I thank them so much. So we're going to see them on Thursday. They're a part of the team, and they're a part of the team now that's really going to help change your lifestyle. The fitness way is Mike's way. We will see you on next Thursday. Now, you all give us a parting part of now what you want to leave them with. So let's make it within about maybe 30 seconds. Dennis, you go.
I mean, just kind of a recap for anybody who is tuning in or who may watch this a little later. Definitely give us a ring, call in. I would love to talk to people and maybe encourage them on some healthy habits that you can provide for your children. Me being a dad, I know it's tough, but we can do this thing together and make a brighter future for ourselves.
Amen. Alex.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Just what Dennis said, get with us, show up to active strength and get with us and see what we're about. We have a lot of knowledge to apply and to give. So we're looking forward to hearing from you on the call-ins and just, you know, making our community what we know it can be through fitness and health.
All right, all right. So we want to thank everybody. We want to thank everybody. We so much appreciate the audience and as it grows. And we will see you next Thursday at 7 o'clock. And it will be the same time, same back channel, same fitness channel. We were here with This Way with the Fitness with Mike. And now with us, we say goodbye and we will see you next time.
See you later.
All right. Bye.